All right, I'm talking with Marc Cushman, author of a new book coming out, actually a trilogy, on Star Trek. So Marc, tell us, why Star Trek?
I like to write books about TV shows that I think changed the world. The last one I did was on I Spy, which was the first show that was interracial, a white and a black actor on equal status, and this is in 1965 when nobody else was doing these type of things. And Star Trek came on the following year. It was the first show to have an ensemble cast and a multiracial cast. So that was very important for a civil rights point of view. But also, it invented so many things, or imagined so many things that have since been invented by people who watched the show, who were kids then, and have admitted that they got their ideas from Star Trek. Bill Gates has admitted that he got the idea for the PC and the Internet from Star Trek. Spock's library computer. The guy who invented the cell phone. I have an antique here, which the first type of cell phone, what does that look like? Kirk's flip-open communicator. And the guy who invented this got the idea from Star Trek, and the Bluetooth as well, always sticking out of Uhura's ear and Spock's ear. MRIs, McCoy's scanner, so CAT scans, even CDs and DVDs, disc instead of tape, which they used on that show. Automatic opening doors, the whole thing. All this technology came from a TV show. People got their ideas from the TV show and said, we got to be able to figure out how to do that. So I like shows that have changed the world, have changed everybody's lives.
So, okay, but why you? There's a lot of other Star Trek books out there. Why should you write a book, and what's different about yours?
Well, I knew Gene Roddenberry. And D.C. Fontana and Robert Justman and George Clayton Johnson and all these people from the original series, because a lot of them were working on Next Generation, and I wrote for Next Generation for a short time. And I was also doing a documentary on Star Trek for a company I was working for. They assigned me to do it, and Roddenberry was very gracious and gave us interviews which have never been made public until now with this book. So I already had a head start. And there are a lot of books out on Star Trek, and a lot of good books, and they all tell a certain point of view. This will be the first one that tells everybody's point of view. This will be the first one that is based on the actual show files. Gene and Bob Justman both wanted me to go through all the show files, all the memos between them and the writers and the directors and the network, letters from the network, fan letters that came in after the episodes aired for the first time. All this stuff, and I even licensed the ratings from AC Nielsen. So all these things are going to be made public for the first time, and about 20 pages for each episode. So it's a big book, and we'll have to chop it up into 3 to make it something you can actually hold and read.
Well, yeah, we've been talking about a book, but it's actually going to be 3 books.
Yes. Because if not, it was going to be a book about that thick, which is a little awkward when you're lying in bed. It can hurt right there. So we thought 3 books about this size, as the I Spy book was, and about 500 pages each, between 400 and 500 pages each. And it needed to be that big because it's such an amazing story, but also because I wanted to get into every episode and show them being written. Put you like a fly on the wall, put you in the office, Gene Roddenberry's office, as he's taking the pitches, as the scripts are being developed, as he's fighting with the network over what's going to go in and what's going to come out, as he's fighting with the production department over what they can afford to do and what they can't. And a lot of great scripts from wonderful science fiction writers that were written and never produced because they couldn't afford to make them. And then put you on the soundstage, watching the episode get filmed. And then put you in front of your TV, your old RCA color TV in 1968, watching the episode for the first time, reading the reviews from Daily Variety, Hollywood Reporter, seeing the ratings come in, seeing the fan letters come in the next week from people who watched that episode and reacted to it. So literally putting you in a time machine, taking you back. And it takes that many pages to do that for each episode.
And so basically there is going to be 1 book for each season?
Yes.
Do I understand correctly?
Yeah, the first show was on for 3 years. They made more episodes back in the day, so than they do now, but it was only 3 seasons, and so each book will be for season 1, it will be volume 1 and volume 2 and volume 3, covering the entire run of the show.
And all that behind the scenes things for each episode, so
Yes.
anyone who has a favorite episode can drill right down and...
Right, and, or a least favorite episode, because for me, it's interesting to wonder, well, most of these episodes are terrific, they're classics, but there's a couple ones that are dogs. And why did that get made? How did that get made with such talented people? And usually it's because censorship, budget problems, something went wrong. And it's interesting to find out through these memos what did go wrong and what they thought of the episode. Hear them writing to each other, oh my God, that one didn't turn out well. Let's bury that at the end of the season and not rerun it. And things like that, so you get to hear what they think as they're making the show.
Well, when you write a book like this, you have a built-in fan base, some of whom are very avid fans. How many Star Trek fans are there?
Paramount, I read, estimates there's 250 million fans around the world. Now, what degree of fans they are, I'm not saying they're all Trekkies or Trekkers that go to conventions, but, you know, there's 3 conventions a week in this country, somewhere. And the last movie that came out a couple years ago, and the sequel's coming out in just a month or two, made $400 million at the box office. $10 a ticket, that means 40 million people went and saw it. And that was with the original characters, new actors playing those classic characters. So it's a giant fan base. And people are still very interested in this show. I think they want to take this time trip and go back and see how it was made.
And they're going to hold you to a very high standard.
And I hope I deliver. I think we do.
Well, thank you for answering my questions. Is there anything else you'd like to say besides, of course, that we should all go buy this book?
Yes, because I spent 6 years in my time machine, so now you get to climb in the time machine and reward me for that sacrifice. And I think you'll enjoy it. It's a fascinating journey.
Thank you, Marc.
Thank you.